Okay, so what is your name?
My name is Mason.
Mm-hmm. And then how old are you?
I'm 23.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, I started school. I took a little break after high school.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Okay. And then tell me the story of how you discovered like your well, sorry, I skipped the question. What's your how do you identify and like what's your sexuality?
I identify as a cis woman, but I identify as a lesbian.
Okay, cool. And then tell me the story of how you discovered that and then how you came out.
So, when I started high school, I went from growing up in like a really conservative area
Mm-hmm.
to going to high school in like an art school, and so it was
Mm.
very like it was a lot more of progressive mindsets.
Yeah.
Um, and up until that point, I was very much like, I identify as straight, blah, blah, blah. And when I got to high school, I started questioning that and I started identifying as bisexual. And
Mm.
then when I was a sophomore, I fell in love with a girl. And like,
Oh,
that was my first serious relationship.
that's so
Um,
cute.
and so that's when I really was like, I know I'm a lesbian. It was more a matter of like, how do I come out?
Right.
And so, to my friends and everything, I was probably out for a year before anyone else knew.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what was really important to me was coming out to my mom because we're very close. And so, coming out was just like, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of stigmatization, especially with lesbians specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, coming out and saying the words like I'm a lesbian, even rather than saying like bisexual or something else, it was definitely like I remember my mom said to me that she didn't want me labeling myself, and that was really weird because I was like, well, you didn't have a problem when I was saying I was straight or bi before.
Right.
And so that was probably when I was like 17. And then me and that relationship had a bit of a rough falling out. And I think it took that for my mom to be like, okay, well, I want to be there for my daughter, regardless if this was with a woman. And ever since then, we've been fine. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh. Okay. And then what was the most important thing or like place that made you feel seen? Like it could be before you came out or even after.
Huh. I would say more I've felt seen after,
Mm-hmm.
um, where like, especially once I turned 21 and I could start going out and doing things and like actually meeting other queer people.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been like, I don't know, I don't feel necessarily seen in the like online spaces, like the little like TikTok queer spaces, that get very like,
Yeah.
they just get like so much drama. And so I feel like I always feel very seen when I'm like out of bars, whether that be queer bars or not, and like interacting with people within my community or people that are within the queer community but identify differently.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay. And maybe before you came out, was there any place that made you feel like welcomed or safe?
Yeah, I would say when I was in high school before I came out, that's when the internet really did. I know it's not like a place, but it really
Mm-hmm.
did like help me, especially like seeing a representation of certain sexualities and even like words that weren't like or identities that weren't well spotlighted at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay. And then how are you living with your identity now?
I would say I don't know, like sometimes I'm like that is the most like my identity is something I feel so safe and like strong in, especially now
Mm-hmm.
that I'm dating again.
Mm-hmm.
And so being in my current relationship and being out and open with everybody and like my family got to meet her the other day. And
Aww.
so like yeah, it was very nice and it just feels much safer now that I can just be a lot more open with those types of things and it doesn't need to be like a bunch of drama.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And then, what are your goals in life, like in the future? It can be identity related or not, or both.
I want to be a director and or a screenwriter for movies.
Mm-hmm.
And lately all my work kind of focuses on my identities, whether that be me being a lesbian or being a woman or something like that. And so
Mm-hmm.
like working within spaces that are underrepresented,
Mm-hmm.
and working alongside people that are underrepresented and telling those stories.
Wow, that's amazing. Whoa, that sounds great.
Yeah.
And then the last one is, what's the message you would give to people who are like young or like a little bit older that are afraid of like coming out or embracing their true selves?
Yeah. I would say, I don't know, I feel like when I was like 16 and dealing with coming out, like to me it was like, oh my god, this world is so small and like my
Mm-hmm.
problems are the biggest problems in the world. And I think growing up has taught me that's still very much an issue, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but there's people and worlds outside of my family life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's so much chosen family. That term gets thrown around a lot, but I really do believe in that as far as like, you know, it doesn't have to be my mom is the most accepting person, because there's a lot of people out there that don't question me and don't give a second thought to those types of things.
Right.
And so, I don't know, I know it sounds so cheesy to just say like it gets better as time goes on, but like I think as you get more secure in your sexuality,
Mm-hmm.
things will start to follow.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Thank you so much.
Of course. Let me know if you need anything